A sword of omens tells me that you're watching Southern Comic Geek. Thundercats. Ho!
Hey, this is Billy West, and you, an idiot, if you're not watching Southern Comic Geek. You hear that, Stimpy? Yeah, I heard it. I'm a Northern Comic Geek.
What's up, folks? Southern Comic Geek coming to you. And, if you're simulcasting on the other person's channel, let me go ahead and bring this guy on here as well, because you'll be like, who has hijacked the man, the myth, the legend, Signature King Tony? What's up?
What's going on, everybody? Love the intro. That was a fun intro. That was really fun.
Well, normally I have like the rock intro that somebody did for me and all that kind of stuff. Crazy thing prior to COVID, somebody did that for me, and I sent them a Hulk 340, the Tom McFarlane cover, just for it. But the last time I played that and did a video, YouTube didn't strike me, but they said, "Hey, this is somebody else's music, therefore you got to share revenue." I'm like, okay, I'll split a penny. I mean, what?
Yeah, the 2 cents you might make if you're lucky.
Like, okay, YouTube, sure. Well, let's get a couple of random things out of the way before we talk about Baltimore Comic Con. Now, Tony is an old pro as it relates to Baltimore Comic Con. I am a newbie. I'm not going to sing like a virgin for you, but you get the drift. And so we will, let's show this just for showing up tonight. How about a freebie if you're needing some supplies for your comics, cards, and other various collectibles? You can visit bcwsupplies.com and use the coupon code SCG at checkout to save yourself 10% on your order. And if you're like me and you like some good coffee to go with your comics, you can visit comicsoncoffee.com and use the coupon code SCG to save yourself 15% on your order there. Now, some of you know that for the month of September, I do my Great Cycle Challenge every year. And so I ride my bicycle a lot, which is good for me. But in doing so, I also raise some money for the Great Cycle Challenge to help raise funding for kids' cancer research. And so I'm going to drop that into the chat. And so if anybody is so inclined to do so, check it out. Your donation goes, straight to them. So you're not worried about me, taking your money like a government official and putting it in my pocket. It can go straight to where it needs to go to and help kids that have cancer. So there is that. With all that out of the way, Tony, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm glad today's over. Work has been kicking my butt lately, so I'm happy.
Well, and I know that we're simulcasting on both of our channels, so if you're not familiar with me, I'm Southern Comic Geek, and I'll drop a link to that in the description or in the chat in a minute. But if you're not familiar with Signature King Tony, a guy who likes a few scribble marks on his books like I do, you can look in the description of my video, and his IG as well as his YouTube channel is there. And, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of what I see from you are a lot of fun shorts, and not your shorts in particular, but, your shorts about signing books. I know nothing about Tony's shorts, just to be clear. I don't even know if he's wearing shorts right now.
Pants.
But anyway, so he does a lot of fun shorts on YouTube, and a lot of times you'll see him with Magic Lasso, and even occasionally the Fooster still shows up. He comes out of hibernation, and he'll do something on Sunday nights. And so there you go. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, if you enjoy low-hanging fruit in terms of YouTube content, by all means, give me a sub, because I really, what's nice about the sub or the shorts is I can just kind of experiment, and I don't really have to worry about anything. So I've been playing around with AI a lot, so it's fun.
Well, as long as you don't let it draw comic books, you're okay. So.
Yeah, right.
Well, we got a couple of folks in the chat here. We got Mr. Collector 123, somebody that enjoys some rare, funny pages, as well as getting some of the originals. Seems to have gotten addicted to that as well. We got Carl's Collection, which is another YouTube channel, kind of new to the space. But he will do unboxings both for his original art as well as his comics. He's got various toys in his background.
Oh, very cool.
Let's see. He's a DC guy, so that's near and dear to Tony's heart.
It is. Thank
so
you, Carl.
he Superman, I think, in particular, but he's got a lot of cool stuff. So actually, I will probably let me get his link and I will drop it in the chat there, Carl. And he's been enjoying the GI Joe and Transformer series that
very cool.
That's been going on lately. I think some of the big two could take note at some of what Image is doing over there. And let's see. I think we saw Tim the Collector in the building. Wow. A rare sighting of Tim the Comic Collector.
He's alive. We have proof of life.
Yeah, between him and Fu, I mean, I thought they were fasting YouTube or something. You know?
Yeah, right. Tell me about it.
And then Warlord is in the building. What's going on? He says, DC guy, you got to go sub him up. There you go.
Yes.
DC Band of Brothers there. Kenneth Bird, one of the most prolific watchers of YouTube comic content that I know of. Appreciate you. And Dia Wolf Comics in the building. Says, hey, Tom.
What's going on?
Hey. He says, I was gone like 8 months, but he's back. He says, I am back. I get to the chopper. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, pretty much focused on Energon and other Image titles at the moment. And so I tell you what, comic collectors and original art collectors are both alike in the sense that they say misery loves company. Well, so does enjoyment. And so we're like, oh man, you got to see this, man. Check this out, man. You got to get this book. You got to get this art page. And then we're like really bad for each other because it's like, man, that is awesome. I think I need to go get it. So we check out the eBays or, your other spending avenue of choice. And next thing you know, we're broker than what we were prior to the experience. But yeah. So Carl was telling me, said, man, yeah, you need to email this person about this page. And so I said, okay. So I emailed him, ended up picking up 2. Actually picked up on that page there. For those of you reading the Transformers, that's issue 10. Carl says, just recorded a DC related video today, though. He actually has, I know of at least one offhand of the pages from the Death of Superman run.
Wow.
I think it's the one with Maxima hitting Doomsday, Tom Grummett page. But now those things are like big in demand, like talking about big money. But yeah, those are kind of out of my league now. But hey, let's talk about Baltimore. So Baltimore Comic Con, as it has been brought to my attention, and Tony, you are much more knowledgeable in it. Tell me, what is it about Baltimore Comic Con that makes it a con to go to?
Oh man, you don't want that question's got a lot of answers, but I would say if I could break it down in just a few sentences, I would say, they're focused a lot on the books. It is heavy books, heavy AAA in terms of artists that show up and writers, and with just a drop or two of those mainstream celebrities. So yeah, it's heavy books, and collectors like us. I mean, it's a paradise. It really is.
Well, because of vast majority of the cons that I go to now, Heroes Con is the big exception. I went the first time this year. Some have told me that Heroes Con is much like Baltimore in the way that it's
very cool.
Very comics, original comic art focused, and a couple of ancillary things that you see, like comics related stuff. But the whole cosplay, whole superstar, TV star thing is not there. So it's not taking up the space. And I absolutely loved Hero Con as far as like the aisle space, plenty of room to put the big long lines for people like Scotty Young or David Finch. And, you weren't tripping up Jenny Frizen. I mean, they have plenty of room. They put the big names on the biggest rows. Hello, that makes sense, right? And so, it just made so much sense the way they laid it out than what, say, a fan expo is. Diego, what is going on, my friend? Carl says, yes, Baltimore is awesome. Comics focus. I go every single year. Yeah, actually, Carl will be there this year.
Yeah,
as well.
we'll have to high five there, Carl.
Yeah. Con centered around comics. Yeah, novel concept, right, Tim? But a lot of these cons, and I know I don't want to bash Fan Expo too much because they do give me a press pass every year. So, in full disclosure, but I have been critical to them when they asked me my opinion of what could be better. I was honest with them. Hey, you had a great lineup, but widen the aisles just a little bit. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. I've been to many cons like that where it's just like, how one, this is very uncomfortable. Like two, how does, if someone was in a wheelchair, how would they navigate this? There's no way this is ADA compliant.
Exactly. And I usually carry my wagon so I don't forget anything. Yeah. And so think about this. You got Art Adams, you got David Finch, you got Jeff Loeb, David Nakayama, all of these, and there's two or three more that I'm missing that I'm not that's not coming readily to mind. All on one road that goes into a corner right here, and then the aisle is this wide. I mean, you're not even going to be able to go down that aisle because what happened is all the people had to go fill the aisle out to get in their line. It was madness, especially on Saturday.
The Baltimore Comic Con. I mean, it gets hectic, but I feel like they got a great staff. They know when to manage the line, which is nice. I think they do a good job. It keeps me coming back every year. I haven't had too many complaints about them in the past, but the only time I really had complaints was I went in 2016. I had a VIP pass, so they let me in the show an hour early, and I was going to get in some guy's line. It was Tom King at the time, but his line was already like really long. I was like, they just let VIP. How is his line long already? Turns out it was vendors. And somebody said something to the vendors, and then finally the staff came and said, vendors, no. You have to go back. Yeah. You can't line up till the doors officially open.
Yeah, and I get it. People got bills to pay and all that kind of stuff. But, I know like in Fan Expo's case, Whatnot has become a big thing. And, the scheduling is a very hectic deal because like the people will be there from like 8 to say 9:15, and then they'll come back at 10, and they'll be there for 30 minutes before they go to this panel over here, or they might be at this Whatnot sale over there, and it's harder to plan out the day, or at least has been for me. Yeah. But we're talking about Baltimore, so hopefully we won't have any of those problems. And if I get robbed at the hotel, it's because Tony suggested this hotel to me.
It's a great hotel. I stayed there with my wife before we had kids. I decided to drag her to one year. It's literally right across the street. You can't be any more convenient than that. Right across the street. So it's good venue. If this is your first time, is this going to be your first time in Baltimore?
Yeah.
One thing I would do is check out the National Aquarium. That's not comic related. Check out the National Aquarium, literally right next door. It's one of the largest aquariums in North America, so it's a lot of fun.
Now the Steve Geppe's museum is closed now, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, the owner of
sounds like
distributors. I think they closed it, but I know that used to be another draw when people would go up there. Mr. Collector says, but is the wagon allowed?
Yes.
Yeah. So when I went to North Carolina, I hooked it up, put a zip tie through it so it wouldn't come apart in shipping, and offloaded and took it with me to North Carolina. So I think I'm gonna do that for Baltimore too.
Yeah, I roll with a wagon. I'm going to bring my wagon because I've got a bunch of books. Speaking of books, how many books total are you bringing?
Yeah, Carl says Geppe's is closed. Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so as of right now they keep adding folks.
They do.
Like Tony and I were talking prior to coming on, but they keep adding. They've cut a few. There were a couple of bummers, but what are you going to do? And so I haven't got anything for Philip Kennedy Johnson in here yet.
Yeah, neither have I. I haven't gone through his books yet. So they announced him this morning, right? This morning.
Yeah. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 4, 36, 38, 40, 42, about 45.
45. Okay.
Yeah.
Reasonable. I'm bringing about 60.
Okay. Well, now that's not counting my art pages. So,
Yeah.
I also have the art pages in there.
Okay. Very cool.
And the what one person like you're like the most excited about and got the most stuff to get signed for?
I'm going to answer that in 2 parts. The one that I'm most excited for is Jim Lee. Never met him before. This is my first time. I got the super duper cool kid Jim Lee VIP package.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But the one person that I'm really excited about in terms of books, gosh, I don't know. I'd say it'd be a toss-up, probably between Dan Jurgens and Jerry Ordway. Even though I've met them many times before, every time they come back, I'm like, man, I should have got them to sign this and that and the other thing. So,
well, see, like I like multiple signatures on my books, and then like what happens is I'll end up getting a book signed by somebody else. I'm like, man, you know what would look good on here? This other person's signature who I've already got on this other book, right? So, so I just saw Dan Jurgens and got him to sign a bunch of stuff at Heroes Con. I really wish now. I think it was Carl that was telling me that Dan Jurgens actually had a hand injury. So I don't know that he'll be doing any commissions, but it was he was real nice in line. His line was packed out. I actually was hoping to get him to do a commission, a pencil it's a big commission idea that I had. And then I was going to get Brett Breeding to ink it. But Dan's like, look, I'm be honest with you. I got deadlines. He said, I'm going to tell you, like I tell some of these other folks, some of these guys that are retired, talk to them. He said, because I'm still having deadlines, to meet, as far as drawing pages and writing books. And another, that was the nice way of saying, I really don't want to do what you're asking to do. So go talk to somebody else. Any jam pieces planned for this year? Yeah, so that's one of the things I wanted to get done. So at Fan Expo Dallas, I got Tom Grummett to pencil a Superboy piece for me on an 11 by 17 comic art board, and I was going to get somebody to. Why is my boss calling me this late? Hey Tony, take over.
Yo, I got it. So, one of the books that I'm definitely looking forward to getting signed. It's actually all this is for one person. All that's for one dude. And that person is Scott Collins. So I've never met Scott Collins before. So what I'm getting him to sign is the DC Hanna-Barbera Jabberjaw Aquaman cool crossover. I just think that would be fun. I'm a huge fan of stupid crossovers. So, of course, I'm going to do that. So we have the King Shark Suicide Squad #1 A cover. Suicide Squad King Shark Walmart variant. And if you notice, the only difference is the color. I don't know why they made that a cover. The Suicide Squad King Shark Free Comic Book Day edition. And last but not least, Suicide Squad King Shark 1 in 500 foil. So all that is going to Mr. Scott Collins. Very excited to meet him. Some other cool gems I'm going to pull out. So I also have this in foil. And the reason I'm bringing this one, I debated. Because I can get this one signed by, I can never pronounce his name. Mr. Lou. I'm probably butchering that name. So he did the cover right? And I was on the fence about it. But what put me over the edge was the fact that they announced Joshua Middleton, who wrote this. So then I was like, I went down my whole Joshua Middleton rabbit hole. So then I was like, well, what the heck am I supposed to get signed by Joshua Middleton? So I'm going to take a look here. I've got plenty of other stuff here. Steve Epting, Joseph Loeb. Gosh, Joshua Middleton. Okay, so here's some Josh Middleton right here. As a big Shazam fan, the new champions of Shazam, Joshua Middleton variant. We have Superman Shazam First Thunder. So what's important about this piece is this is Joshua Middleton's first DC published work. And of course, I can't go see Joshua Middleton without this bad boy, right? The only problem with Joshua Middleton, and I think he's about $20 per, roughly. But it's the first time meeting him, so I got no problem dropping a little bit of cash. I'm going to take care of Joshua Middleton. I would say the rarest book. I wouldn't say rare. Let me back up. This book is interesting. Do you guys separate comics by creator? Put sticky notes on them. In that case, there's more signature you want to grab. Fabulous question. And I'm going to get to that. So this book, I have never seen signed before. And I've checked both the CGC and the CBCS registry. It doesn't exist. But it's a dollar bin book. Maybe, I've seen it a million times. But I'm going to get Jim Lee to sign it because it's the first time and the only time that he's done the Ninja Turtles. Pretty wild. So first Jim Lee Ninja Turtles. And yes, that is a Jim Lee cover. You can see it right down there from 1994. It's an awesome book. I think I'm going to do it. Just because it's one of a kind. Is this going to pay off my mortgage? Probably not. Would be nice, though. But yes, to answer the question, it was from Thango. He was wondering how we do the multiple signatures. And I have a wonderful example somewhere in this jarbled mess. Let's see. Where is it? Here's an example of how I do it. So I just get a label maker, my handy little label maker, and I just do something like this. I just throw it on there, and I have it on the front and the back. And then when I get home and I get my signatures, I usually just, if I can salvage the bag, I will. But if not, and if I tear it, whatever, no harm, no foul. I'll just toss the bag. Unique item for sure on that Lee cover. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the process, one of the things that I do is I have this old top loader. You can kind of see it's got different colors, inks on there. And if I'm on the fence about what color to get, I'll just take this bad boy and I'll just slide it in here. And I can kind of see what color ink will look nice. I can kind of guess, not necessarily placement, but for color wise, I think it looks good. Sorry, you would grab that SAC McFarlane book from Doug. Yes, yeah, I did. And you're referring to this book. This one is also coming with me to Baltimore Comic-Con to get Jerry Ordway right across there. This one is from Doug Hazelwood. He gave this to me. So, Doug, appreciate you, brother. Thanks. Thanks for the feedback. Well, I've been doing this a little while. So, I pick up a tip or two. I can't take credit for everything. But when you've got something like this hanging around, you do everything you can. So I usually put here's the signatures that are going on it, Jerry Ordway, Dan Jurgens, Carl Kessel. And here's the list of folks that are already on it. So I've got some pretty big names on here. And I'm going to continue to add to this gem. This is going to be a huge pain in the neck to authenticate. I priced it out at CBCS not long ago when it was about $270 just for the authentication, about $270. That's a lot. Now that CGC signature verification program, that's a lot cheaper than have a witness. Does that influence the amount of books you send in, or do you or the witness program or the JSA? I don't know. And I'll be honest with you. When CGC picked up their JSA, I had run in with them a time or two before. Not at Baltimore, but other places, way before they were CGC. I wasn't a huge fan of them. They didn't do anything to me. I've never said anything to them, full disclosure. They have never burned me. But they burned somebody that I knew. There was a celebrity at an event. They were at the event authenticating signatures. He got the signature. He went to them for authentication. They said they couldn't authenticate it because I don't know what the process was or what they were doing, but they couldn't authenticate it. Like, really? Your authentication should have just been, hey, sir, was this you? Oh, okay, great. Whatever. I use Word and include pictures of artists signing my books and put them in the print behind the book. Yeah, there you go. That's cool. I can get behind that. That's pretty cool. That's one way to do it. But I'm a huge fan of stuff like this, these blank books, where I'm going to fill it with signatures and sketches and just all kinds of goodies. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. That'll be a lot of fun. So I've got it started with Superman. I've got Batman. I've got Wonder Woman blank comics in here. I'm sure a lot of you who are joining now are very confused. I'm not the Southern Comic Book Geek, but he'll be back here shortly. Trying to pull out some really unique books, but for some of these I didn't label, but I don't know why I did that. See, here's an Arthur Adams, something like that. That's usually how I do it. I'm going to wait for him to come back so I can pull these really cool books, but I will show you. I did pick up the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez Shazam. I'm definitely going to get him to sign that. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm probably going to get this bad boy slabbed just because I have a whole bunch of other Shazam books slabbed. This one for sure. Mark Waid is probably going to get slabbed. Maybe Jeff Loeb, maybe on this one. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to slab it. But I'm definitely going to get a signature on it. And the only other book that's going to be a slab for sure is the San Diego Comic-Con Justice League of America Jose Luis Garcia Lopez cover written by Mark Waid. So I can do a quick twofer on that one and get it slabbed. Actually, that's not true. I'm getting two more books slabbed that are already slabbed. I'm going to finish this one up and get Dan Jurgens to finish it out. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Going to get them to crack it. And same thing on this one. Dan Jurgens. Finish it out. Maybe a nice gold. I'm kicking myself every time I see this book. Mike DiCarlo is a signature on this book. And he asked me, what color do you want on this book? And I said, surprise me. I didn't think he was going to do green or teal or whatever that is. I should have just said gold because it's a Booster Gold book. So I'm going to make up for it. Make Dan put his little Herbie Hancock right across there and make it gold. So that way I'll have both Booster Golds, Booster Gold number ones, signed by Dan Jurgens and Mike DiCarlo. So those two will be coming with me. And I think that wraps up the slabs. Let me just double check on our friend here, make sure he doesn't need me to pull him back in or something. If I could type in my own password. That would be helpful. Nothing. So we are all good. What else? Anybody got any questions? I'm running out of things to talk about off the top of my head. I definitely have a lot of Jim Lee. Like I said, I did the Jim Lee package. I'm going to wait for our Southern comic book friend to return before I start showing off some of those. One book. You have to point out the signatures, for example, hopping the lines first, E ones first. What's great about this convention is they'll put out a map of the show floor about who's going where, literally any day now. They haven't yet, but they will. I'll print that out and make a dot, everywhere I need to go. And then I can just kind of figure out where I need to go, make myself a little line. But I've quickly learned who are the big long lines and who I can get in and out in no time. So I try to do some of the longer ones first and get them out of the way before the stampede rolls in. That's my tactic. But then I know there's someone like, for whatever reason, Jerry Ordway. Excuse me, nice guy, awesome work. One of the DC all-time greats. Never really has that long of a line. So I can get him honestly anytime, and I'll just wait to get him. No problem. The Jim Lee signing last year ate up a huge chunk of time. Hopefully this package can bypass a bunch of that line. I don't think Jim Lee was there last year. You're talking about Jeff Johns? He was there last year. Pretty sure it was Jeff Johns. Let me consult the badges because I kept them all. Let's see. Yep, we have a Jeff Johns badge. Mr. Jeff Johns. So I had to get all the books I needed signed by Jeff Johns. I had to buy 1, 2, 3 badges. Is he reading YouTube comments too? Yeah. I am. Was it last year or 2 years? Time is no me. Yeah, I have no idea. This is my first Jim Lee for me, so I'm very excited. But so here's another great example of a multiple book with lots of signatures on it. And that is the Power Girl special. I think that's what this book is. So all of them getting signed right about here. And what about books? Do you have a list of issues you're looking for, or you're 95% focused on Artist Alley? Geez. I do have a laundry list of books. And what's nice about it is some of the lines, if it's anything like the last couple of years, will just be right past some of those tables selling books. So as I'm in line, I can just look through a couple of short boxes or ask, hey, do you have this book? So, I have a lot. Dolly Parton should play Power Girl. Sign her up. One-man show. Yeah, that's me. So I've officially taken over the Southern Comic Book Geek show. But yeah, I got some Jim Lee books. I'm just waiting for Mr. Geek to come back. Trying to not run out of stuff here. Although this year is going to be heavy Wonder Woman for me again. Sticks boy, yeah, man. Being in Baltimore too. Come say hi, dude. If you see me, listen. I'm gonna put this out right now. Anyone at Baltimore Comic-Con who comes up and says hi to me gets a prize. Will walk away with a prize, a legitimate prize. I can't say what it is, but anyone who finds me to say what's up, give me a high five, take a whatever you want. The prize is not a kiss, Mr. Lasso. Nobody wants to kiss this anymore. This is 20 years beyond kissable, at least. So, come find me for a prize. Mr. Sticks, if you're available, come find me. I think there was a couple other people that said they were attending. Carl, I believe, was the other one. Oh, you kissed them. No, listen, I'm not kissing anybody. Not doing that. So, it's heavy Wonder Woman this year. We got Nubia. There's more Nubia in here somewhere. I think it was in the, look at that. More Nubia. Nubia. So this is all Nubia. Wait, no, that's UR4. That's UR4, but still. Let's call it Amazon. It's very Amazon heavy this year. And there's more than that in the box too. So lots and lots of Amazons this year. And it was like that last year too. I don't know why. I could take more. Look, here's a Wonder Woman. Crazy. After a certain age, shouldn't Nubia be called Olbia? That's true. Words of wisdom from Magic Glass. Oh, look, here's another one. It's very, very heavy Wonder Woman this year. And I'm not sure why. I've also cracked out the movie posters. So this one is going to get signed by Robert Venditti. Very cool. I also have one here that's going to get signed by Dave Johnson, cover artist. Is my comic coming with you? Yes, it is. And I have it. I'm not going to show it, but it's right here. So stay tuned, Mr. Lasso fans, to see what signatures he's going to get. Am I taking any posters? I am not. Space is an issue for me, so I was bringing posters, but those people that I was going to get them signed by are on the cancel list. So I guess that puts that in perspective for me. I'm not coming to bring those. One book that I am very much looking forward to getting signed is this New 52 Forever Evil. New York Comic-Con exclusive. Already signed by Jeff Johns. Looking forward to get it signed by David Finch. I think it'll be awesome. But his line is always so huge. And he usually doesn't start signing till like 11 o'clock, noon. And by that time, it's already chaos, and it's going to be impossible to get anything signed by him. His line fills up real fast. Finch, the Finch that stole Christmas. Yeah, he sure is. Man. I'm also doing the complete run of, let's see, which ones? That's 2. Yeah, there we go. I already have number 1 signed. That's why I couldn't find it. So I'm finishing up my DC versus Marvel. Going to get this one signed by Dan Jurgens. Dan Jurgens. Tim the Comic Collector wants to know, what Harley Quinn books are you getting signed? The answer is a big fat 0. None of them will be signed. Not bringing any. I am getting a few things signed for other people. Some Jerry Ordway stuff, for sure. A couple things aren't even really like this. I'm getting this Power of Shazam preview signed. Let's see if I can pop this bad boy out. There we go. So this one is the preview to this book. So I'm going to get the preview comic signed just because I think it'd be pretty neat. Some of the artwork is pretty cool. Really enjoy it. So I'm going to get the preview signed. I think that'll be interesting in my collection. Man, what if you got lost? You need some clear backing boards. Yeah, on some of these I probably do. That's probably true. Let's see. Yeah, Sticks Boy. Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. Let's see. Man, am I missing anybody? Yeah. Okay, he did reply. Man, sorry. I'm missing some chats. So if I miss your shout out or something. Oh, there he is. Oh, now we can't hear him.
So when your boss calls you at 7 o'clock, like he don't never call, I'm like, okay, somebody's fixing to get fired or something. I'm like, what's going on? Magic Lasso, what's going on? So what all did I need? What all did I miss? I'll call them goodness did I miss? Like you show off like what you were getting signed and stuff.
I showed off some of it. I saved some because we wanted to talk about it. But I'll just quick recap. These are the for sure slabs for me. The 2024 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez on the art.
Yeah.
Mark Waid on the writing there. Jeff Loeb, Mark Waid, and Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. And 2 books that I got to get slabbed or cracked to get slabbed. I'm going to get Dan Jurgens to finish up my Booster Gold #1, and Dan Jurgens to finish up this Booster Gold #1. Yeah, those are my slab books.
So, question about that. So, I'm not a big fan of getting books unslabbed just because you're talking about cost, and in my mind, that's like adding to the cost of the thing. But I actually do have a couple that I was thinking about getting that done because Bob Wyachek, who did a ton load of inking, at least over at Marvel, is going to be there, and he's actually, from my understanding, like blind or getting blind now, so he really can't see to draw and stuff like that. But he's going to be there with the Hero Initiative, and so like he did so many classic covers, like he inked the interiors to Cable's first appearance. So I've got this one signed by Fabian Nicieza, Rob Liefeld, and Lee Simonson already.
Ooh.
And so McFarlane and Wycheck are really the only people I needed on that. And then I've got this Thor 337 first Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, wow.
It's a Mark Jewelers variant. So I was thinking about getting that cracked out and get Walt to sign that as well. Again, I'm not that big of a, it's like, man, it's all that costs. So there'll be somebody with CBGC or CBCS that's going to be there.
Yep. Yeah, and they luckily I don't think they charge anything. Like if you already have a slab, CBCS doesn't. But if I want to, because I'm getting Dan Jurgens to sign this book, they don't charge you to crack it.
Yeah.
Then it's just regular grading fees after that.
Well, see, like if they're like that New Mutants 87, I'll let them crack it because then that way I don't have to pay to re-verify those 6, right?
Yes.
Yep. But like the Walt Simonson book, the Thor book, I can crack that myself because then I can cross my fingers and hope I may get a better grade next time. So,
yeah,
it's not already signed. So, Carl, appreciate you for stopping by. Diego, you're correct. If I came back with a sad face, I'd be like, all right, Baltimore's off, guys. I'm out.
Canceled.
And then Sticks Boy says, what did I miss? Jan Jurgens is going to be at Baltimore?
He sure is.
Oh.
He's on the list.
Yeah, like I said, I heard that he had injured his finger. So I don't know how many sketches are going to be done. And, signature lines might be cut short. I don't know. But and then there's a lot of people in the chat that are insinuating that you were going to get some Harley books signed.
They are sadly mistaken.
Oh, no.
Sadly mistaken. I do own one Harley Quinn book with a signature on it, just one, and it's only because the cover artist lives in my community, and I'm trying to support local guys, so that's literally the only one. Oh man, did Jason freeze? Oh no, he's back. Oh, sorry, you were zoning out. I thought you froze.
Yeah. So I was scrolling back at some of the comments, and so you said something about Jim Lee. Now Jim Lee has gotten to where he like does everything with his son.
Okay.
This Lucas Lee Garza.
Is that his son? I didn't realize. Oh.
And so he's doing his own thing now, and I guess it's one of those things like, hey, if you want me, you got to bring son along too, to kind of get his name out there. But I noticed that his son ain't publishing with DC Comics, just saying. So it must not be that great.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, Sun Lee. No, his name's not Sun Lee, but it's Lucas Lee.
Lucas Lee Garza.
Yeah. Why a man would change his last name? We'll leave it at that.
It's unique. Trying to be different. But I wanted to go over my Jim Lee books. real fast. Especially, I only want to do a couple. So I got the super cool foil.
Yeah.
Superman. Gonna get Jim Lee to sign it. We also got the Batman.
Right. Where's Wonder
And
Woman?
I got the Wonder Woman.
There you go.
So all three of them we're coming with.
I gotta get that Wonder Woman. I've got a slab of the Batman and Superman ones, and but I gotta get a slab of the Wonder Woman so I could post them, the three of them together. I'd see, the thing is, Jim Lee's signatures are so expensive, so you got to make some like really tough life choices,
Doing the math, it's about $60 per. But if you get the package, it buys it. You get a discount.
Yeah,
because you're buying in bulk, essentially.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it makes sense.
Did you get any of the Jim Lee packages by chance?
I didn't. I've got a press pass, so I ain't
gotcha.
None of it yet. The one Jim Lee book that I had that I said, okay, yeah, if I was going to get him to sign one, this would probably be it, just because I've already got signatures on the other stuff, and that is, which I got some Jim Lee signatures. I bought them already signed. Well, where the crap did it go? Is Batman #2, the Jim Lee, I think it's the second print cover.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know which one that is.
And I've already got it signed by Glapian, Capullo, and by Scott Snyder. But the second print, Jim Lee did the cover on it. So
I'm also doing the
there we go.
Super Foily Rebirth.
Hey, so there you go. There's your Harley book right there.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. So yeah. So
there you go. Wow.
Yeah. So it's already signed by the three guys. And actually, Diego, Tony was saying it's like $60 or whatever.
Yeah, it's about $60 per.
So this is the #2. Do you know what #2 is? The first appearance of?
Owls, Court of Owls.
You are correct, Amundo. The first appearance of the Talon.
Talon, that's what it is.
And so, the Talon attacks Bruce Wayne, and his brother, or not his brother, depending on who's writing. And so his first appearance is right there on that page. He comes in, standing right there. The next page is his first battle with Bruce Wayne.
Very nice. Very nice.
Right here. I own that page.
You own that page?
Yeah. It's up there on the wall up there.
That's awesome. Who did the interiors on that book?
Capullo.
Capullo.
Mm-hmm. Give a hoot, don't pollute. Yeah, that's what I've heard before. But yeah, so if I was going to do one, I've got, obviously, I was a big X-Men fan growing up. So you got so much there. And then when you go to his Batman era, you got the whole Hush series. It's like, what do you do? It's like, it's tough choices, man.
It is, because, I'm limited to 8, and that's like nothing compared to the stuff that he's done. That's a tiny drop in the bucket.
No, for sure.
So how do you pick? I mean, there's so much to choose from. Even when he went to Image, you know what I mean? Like just that
right.
alone.
Yeah, Wildcats and all that stuff. Yeah.
So it's tough, but I think I got it figured out. It literally came down between my Turtle Jim Lee's and Jim Lee's first X-Men. Normally I don't do Marvel, but it's Jim Lee and it's his first one. So
yeah. So his Turtle thing, the rarity there. Which figure was it that never got released? One of the figures never got released at all. I don't know if it was Raph or Michelangelo.
Not sure. Yeah,
but he did the packaging on that stuff.
Oh, too. Very cool, very cool. But yeah, this is the only book with him doing turtles. So I was like, gotta take care of it.
Do you have any books on the radar for the con?
This con I prioritize signatures over books. For the other cons that are really local, a lot smaller to me, those ones I kind of flip it a little bit. I prioritize the books, but I mean, I still do book shopping. But if I had to prioritize any books, I'm really still looking at some serious upgrades to, my Shazam #1 run. I have all the books, but now I'm going back and I'm needing I'm getting the best copies that I can find just to finish that run. But
So did you ever get a first Constantine?
I did not yet.
What are you waiting on? The market's down, man.
You know what? Maybe if I find a good one at the show and the price is right, I might pull the trigger. But
there was one on, I think it was Elite Comics on Instagram, and they were selling. They're just a page for other people to show their stuff on, but they were selling, and it was triple signed. Lynn White had signed it. Did Bernie do that cover? Bernie
Ryson? Yeah, I think so.
And so, and there was one other signature on there. I forget whose it was, but yeah, I mean that was. I'm like, wow, because I mean, those two right there, you're not getting anymore, right? So,
nope, they're long gone, unfortunately. One book that I'm gonna finish this year, when I'll be completely done with it, I'm getting Carl Kessel to sign Suicide Squad #1. And I'll have all 3 signatures on here: John Ostrander, Howard Chaykin, and Carl Kessel.
Howard Chaykin doesn't despise that book like he does Star Wars 1?
No, he signed it, no problem. Didn't say anything. Yeah.
So Magic Lasso says that you need a Showcase 56.
I do. I do. He's right. I do. I need a Showcase 56.
Yeah. So Diego, as far as books are concerned, maybe some of the Nintendo books, if I can find them. Maybe Brave and the Bold 29.
So is there like a character that you have the most of that's coming to this con in terms of signatures? Like I happen to have, just by chance, a bunch of Nubia. Just kind of worked out that way.
Well, I do have a bunch of Batman and X-Men. Of course, I mean, nowadays, especially, like Batman's on everything.
Yeah.
And of course, that's what I collect. So, I mean, I got a lot of the various ones there.
You're right, Mr. Lasso.
But there are some Liam Sharp is going to be there. So I've got the XO.
Oh, that's right, Liam Sharp.
He did some. What was that series? Batman and Wonder Woman.
Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, was that Brave and the Bold? Yeah.
Not I think it's not Brave and the Bold. It's called Brave and Bold.
Oh, Brave and Bold. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew he did that series. I remember that one. But yeah, so this is 1 in 250 Exo Manowar. It's a leather cover.
That's leather, dude. I don't think I've ever seen a leather cover before. That's pretty
cool.
So
he did the interiors to that. Someone get him to sign it. He has a very ugly signature, to be honest. But
how do you get him to sign leather?
With a pen?
But would it be easier to do it like a paint pen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But and then of course I already got Tom Grummett to sign the bag.
I giggle every time I see people signing bags. Like,
well, I don't normally, but I had it, and then I'm like, because when I got out of collecting and when I got back into collecting, there were several like taboos that had changed, and one of them was the whole bag thing. Like used to, it was taboo to take things out of poly bags, right? And so now it's like, no, it's normal. You're damaging the book if you don't.
Yeah. I'm listening.
No, so you got this is this like a guilty pleasure book, like my Bloodshot ones or something?
For those of you who are on my saw my video, I bid on about 200 or 300 for fun because it was so cheap. Like like crazy cheap, and I won.
I hate when I see bids like that. I'm like, that's just too cheap. And it's like, yeah, but you don't need it, Jason. Yeah, I know. It's too cheap though.
So, yeah. Spoiler alert: I'm handing these out at Baltimore. So
there you go,
I have
folks.
a whole short box of these. A whole short box.
Well, so I have a over long box of Turok number ones, but I'm not handing any of those out. Those are all mine. But yeah, so it was funny when years ago when I got Tom Grummett to sign this, he said, I thought I had already signed every one of these things. He signed so many.
I'm sure there's some artists out there that are like that.
Yeah, and then Jerry Ordway and get him to sign it.
Yeah, there you go, Jerry Ordway. Yeah,
But,
I am getting something signed by Jerry Ordway. Where is it? For a few people in the community, right here. There's a couple of big Shazam fans that I chat with in the community. If I can get these out, so I happen to have the one of the original marketing kits for Power of Shazam. And these are like little brochures you could take home, like little mini posters.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? Let me just bring a whole bunch to Jerry Ordway and just get him to sign them, and I'll just start giving them out to those big fans of Captain Marvel, Shazam. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Well, Diego asked a question that said that you have a system. So my system, as far as when I go to cons, is I have a spreadsheet, and I print the spreadsheet off, and I also mark the books if there's like more than one person that's going to sign them. And so that's the extent of my deal. I don't have labels or anything like that.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, Magic Lasso asked any Joe Staten sign. I got first Kilowog signed earlier this year by him. Actually got a Kilowog art piece by him too.
Oh, very cool. That's dope.
And but yeah, super nice guy. Him and his wife.
He is
super nice.
So my system is literally just a label maker on one side and a label maker on the other side, so I can always see no matter what. Oh, you know what? I just realized the cover artist is going to be there, Josh Swaby. So adding him to the list of this book.
Well, and I had thought about doing that, but what I've done before, like I'll be in line, I'll have like 5-6 books, and I'm sitting there blowing on the book to try to keep it from smearing when it goes back into the thing, and then like just get so backed up and just start putting them and get them all mixed up, and I guess I could go back and fix them again, because once I get something signed, I put it in my CLZ app. I take a picture of it, so it's the actual comic showing where the signatures are at and stuff. So I do that after I do that. Well, because the other thing is because that's how I get my signatures. Like if I forget what I've got by a certain somebody, if it's not like a household name where like, okay, everybody probably thinks Joe Staten, they probably think First Kilowog, among other things. But if it's like not a household name, like it's a newer cover artist or something, like I won't remember that I have that book. And then I'll go, okay, I want to get a book signed by him, but I want to get one that some other ones have signed too. Then I go, oh, I see it right here. It's on there where I got that one signed. That's a cool issue. I'll get that one signed.
That's a nice system. I thought about doing something like that with my CLZ, but honestly, it would take forever. What I wish they would do is like some kind of scanner integration. I can just go click, 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 and just be done. But alas, they do not. One of the other things I showed off was how I choose the color of my books. So I got a top loader here, and I just kind of scribble different colors on it. And then I can just take the book in question here.
Oh, that's a neat idea.
Slide it right in and just kind of match, see what color looks good. Honestly, most of the time, it's always either gold or black.
Yeah. But, I'm sure you've had it happen to you plenty of times too. You get up there and all they got's black.
Yeah,
it's a dark cover. I'm like, I'm not even going to see it.
Well, I've learned to come prepared for such occasions. I happen to have here a tube of paint markers.
Ah.
All different colors. I got Sharpies in here. I got paint markers in here. You name it, I've got it. So if you ever, when we're at the con, you need a color, man, you just let me know.
So talking about being prepared, I was alerted that Jim Lee, they were having the Hex website.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
They were having these super sales on these things. So I got it for like $20.
What, dude? I would have bought like 3 of them.
I did. I bought 3 of them.
Ah.
How'd you know?
See?
And it was free shipping.
Oh,
so
come on.
I got every one of the ones they had. And so, or one of the every one they had. And so, you know, and this one is built to have for like slabs and some place for your raws, a poster thing on the side. Yeah, it was super dope.
Damn it, that's cool, man. I wish I would have known that. I would have bought 3.
Well, if you want one, I'll sell you one.
Nah, I'm good, man. I want to mellow in my own sorrows. That way I learn.
Well, and so I was wondering if I should just bring that, but then as the amount of books started crowding up, I was like, yeah.
How many books does it hold?
I'm not sure how many books that it holds. It has quite a few. And it, like I said, it separates them out. So these things are really packaged really nice too. They got a bag that they go in to keep the dust off of it. So you take it out of the bag. And then the artwork is great, and they're numbered. There's only this is number 252 of 600.
That is awesome.
So so there, this is the one, the Crazy Joker one, and so yeah, open the front. You got the place for all the pins and all that stuff down there. Adjustable back straps. And as far as the top is concerned, this is where so you got all these various like sorters, like
little dividers or something.
Yeah, expandable dividers and stuff that you can.
Damn it. That is awesome.
Yeah, so.
I knew he did a collaboration with them, and he had like some kind of limited edition backpack on Kickstarter. That might be the same thing. But it was like $150, like brand new.
Yeah, they were originally a lot more than what they are. No.
Dang it. Maybe they just didn't sell very well. I don't know.
Must have. So this website I actually had to order this twice because this website, the Hex website, had these things that were erroneously priced at $0. And so you could go on there and put all these in your cart. That's what people did, and they canceled your order. So I had to go back and just order just the bags. But yeah, you go to the website, that's the regular Jim Lee bag that doesn't have any art on it. It's like, why would you get that instead of the other? The others are back up to $99.95 now.
Dang it.
So yeah, there's one with just the Batman Rogues Gallery. They got Batman. They got one with Superman versus Batman with the Dark Knight, like the movie armor on it.
What's the name of that site again?
Hex brand, HEX brand.com.
Hex brand. Okay, very cool.
And so they say that the backpacks are regularly $114.95, and so they're on sale for $99.95. Again, that's nothing compared to $30, you know.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Cyber Monday or Black Friday. Normally I roll with just the standard BCW book folios.
Well, Justin Birch Letters, legendary letterer in the chat. What is going on? Are you going to be at Baltimore, Justin? Let us know. And are you going to be set up? Speaking of BCW, if you do need supplies for any of your comic book collecting needs, you can use the code SCG to save yourself some money if you spend somewhere else. So there you go.
I think I did buy these through that, I think.
Well, a lot of people. I was surprised that because I ever so often I'll think to look and see the affiliate link and stuff, and I'm like, good grief! Somebody did like $1,700 worth of stuff the other day.
On your affiliate link.
Yeah, I was like,
Jeez.
wow,
That's a couple of nickels in your pocket.
it is a couple to be exact. So I will be at Baltimore, no table, just wandering around. But are you picking up anything? I mean, this guy collected it, which I can't say nothing because I did much the same thing. You collect all of one character, and then you're like, where do you go from there? I mean, because I had, the whole run of Hulk from issue 1 till current, and recently sold. I still got my 1 through 6, but recently sold several of the earlier issues. And my X-Men, he actually bought my X-Men 2 from back in the day. And
very cool.
So, yeah. He was completing an amazing Spider-Man run, too. So I know I was thinking he got the AF-15 and needed the ASM-1, or maybe I got it backwards. But, yeah, some big boy books. Recently I've sold some books, and some of them you regret, and you go back and you see if you can go back and get them. Some you're like, yeah. And it's those you're like, okay, it was time to let them go.
Yeah.
But because you just room. I mean, I don't know about you, but I only have a certain amount of space. And when you got 13,000 comics, you're like, what do you do with them?
This is it, man. I could touch both walls here, and it's about maybe 12, 13 feet. So just a
So how many comics do you have in there?
In this room, probably about 5K.
So you said this room, so you got another room that you got just stuff you don't look at very often in?
Yeah, there's like another area, another storage area that's got some books in it. But the prize stuff is in here. The good stuff. Yeah. My Turok ones, in here.
Hello. Exactly.
I don't want them anywhere else.
Every publisher has that book, where they're like, okay. And if you think about it, X-Men 1, the largest selling book of all time.
Is it really?
And those books still go for money. It's like, how many of these books are floating around, and you're talking about from the 90s. So you're talking about a collector age, where people are knowing about boards and bags and keeping tabs on them and that kind of stuff. You can get why some of the Silver Age stuff or Golden Age certainly is the cost that it is, because, everybody threw them away, didn't think they were going to amount to anything. Their parents threw them out. They had book burnings, that type of stuff. So there's a
gentleman in our area who bought a rundown house. It was old, and he's tearing it up, and he finds part of a Superman Action Comics #1. Part, I say, because I don't think it had a cover or something. I forget what exactly. But it was still enough where he turned around and he sold it and paid off the house he just bought.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you're like,
he found it in the walls, because back then they just would stuff paper down here.
Yeah, exactly.
Insulation, yeah. And what a lucky SOB.
So if you found that, would you sell it?
Yeah, given the condition, I mean, probably. I'll just take the money. It was a pretty poor condition. You're looking at like maybe $250,000 he got out of it.
That's all.
For an Action Comics #1, that's not very much.
Right. Yeah. Comparatively. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't someone sell part of like part of a cover, like a little chip of the corner or something, for a truckload of money?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Crazy.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Too ridiculous.
Nick Cage would appreciate it. I think he finally got his copy back. So.
Oh yeah, because he had to fork up some cash. So he sold a monkey and some comics.
Yeah, well, the Action Comics, it got stolen at one time, and they ended up recovering it or whatnot.
Well, a book like that, I mean, people are going to ask questions like, "Hey, normally you don't have any money. Where'd you get a Superman Action #1?"
Yeah, graded. Yeah, I mean, it's not,
graded, of course.
It's not even hiding in amongst like a whole bunch of raw books. It's like. And of
right
course,
on the top.
these are the same kind of people that'll go up to the pawn shop and go, Yeah, I was hoping to get a couple $1,000 for this.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we could do 5. Does that work?
Yeah.
You take cash?
Yeah.
No problem. That's fine.
Yeah. So walking out with some Golden Age Donald Duck books. Wow.
Justin, you must be local. Are you local to the Baltimore Mid-Atlantic area?
I think he's in Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
Virginia. Okay.
Right.
Oh, he's close.
Yeah.
I will recommend anybody that comes to the capital of my fair state that I live in, Pennsylvania, Monday through Friday, stop and swing by the state library inside the Capitol complex. They have the Steve Ditko collection, about an hour outside of Pittsburgh. There you go.
There you go.
So stop and see the Steve Ditko collection. When he died, he willed all this art, comic books, and art, a lot of which has never been seen before, to the state, including never before seen Spider-Man stories, because he was one of the co-creators of Spider-Man.
Right.
In fact, the state of Pennsylvania has one of the highest graded copies of Spider-Man, behind like incredibly thick glass, of course.
Sure.
And it's just a ton of fun to look at. It's so high value, this collection. When you go into the room to look at it, you are escorted by a Capitol police officer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they don't let you touch anything. It's all look, and there's a cop in there with you. No jackets, no bags.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and talking about Steve Ditko, Marvel recently had to pay his nephew out for being able to own it, because it's Spider-Man was going to be in public domain, and so I don't know if they ever disclosed how much Marvel paid him out, but for Doctor Strange too. So
yeah, when they don't disclose, it's just like way too much.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
like when those people settle with these Fortune 500 companies, they get paid way.
It's like with what DC did with Superman a few years ago, where they were trying to depower him and take out the trademark curl and all that kind of stuff. Part of that was a result of knowing, hey, Superman's fixing to be like out of our hands, so to speak. And so we need to kind of rebrand him, and then we can say, oh, this is kind of a new character altogether. Anyway, you can't, like Mickey Mouse and Steamboat Willie, like Disney can't do anything with parodies of Steamboat Willie. But over the course of time, Mickey has had subtle changes that you can't do anything with newer iterations of the character. So same thing with Superman. That's why they did Miles Morales. As much as it was a diversity thing, it was as much that they knew that in a few years they were going to lose control, potentially could lose control of one of their most popular characters. So they tried to insert Miles Morales, but he found his own footing or whatever. But
yeah, he found it. Yeah. That's really cool. I didn't know that. I mean, I always knew, I guess, it'd be public domain, but I didn't know, like, take away the curl. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, it's a new character.
Yeah. So no cat. Remember, he was depowered or lower powered. Didn't have his.
And then they changed his power.
Yeah. Well, further back, they did the blue and the red, Superman all together. But was it the new 52 when he had the shaved head?
Yeah, he wore jeans.
Yeah.
And just a Superman t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a new power called Solar Flare, where he could like suck the UV energy out of like objects like plants and stuff to like power himself. Now I know why they did it. I always thought it was really stupid. Mm-hmm. But I guess it makes sense now. You want to keep Superman in DC.
Right. Well, because those characters by and large have not had many changes over the years. I mean, as old as they are.
That's weird, huh? I didn't know that. That's unique. I like it.
So, anything else on Baltimore? Any big plans? Are you going to go to any of the panels or anything like that?
No panels. Just because I got to get all these books signed. I don't want to waste any time. I'm there from about 10 a.m. when the doors open I'm probably going to stay to close to 7, 6 o'clock.
So that's talking about that with panels, that's always, there's been panels that I've been interested in, like, man, that'd be really interesting to go to. and I'll be in the middle of a line, or I'll forget about it and start hunting for books or whatnot, and forget all about it. And that's usually how Bad Idea Comics has a panel. I think it's 3:30. Is that Friday or Saturday?
The Friday one.
And yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I learned my lesson with the Jeff Johns panel last year. I went to the Jeff Johns panel. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but everyone who didn't go to the panel that had Jeff Johns tickets just went and stood in front of the signature line. So by the time I got out of the panel, dude, that thing was already wrapped around. Like, I was in that line, no joke, for 3 hours.
Wow.
3 hours. And I wasn't backing out. I already paid for the tickets to see the guy. I'm stuck.
Well, yeah, I guess that's a good point. And so would you just couldn't come, you think you're going to get everything done in one day?
I've done more with less time.
Huh?
Record is 130 some books in one day. 130. On there a weekend this year, might go to a panel or two. There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to be there Friday and Saturday. I try to get all my commissions lined out, and like the like, okay, if I couldn't get nobody but this person's signature, that's the one I want to get to on Friday, right? Get it out of the way. That way, if something horrible happened and I couldn't do something on Saturday, I'd be all right.
Yeah.
Start to 1 p.m. What crap is that? I mean, I wanted to start early. I want to get my money's worth, which I say that.
6 a.m. and I'm sleeping till 9 anyway.
Let's see. 4 hours for Alex Ross, 4 hours, 50 minutes for George Perez, first con after announcing the retirement. Yeah, I can imagine that was pretty crazy.
I just did my George Perez sign-in or mail-in to get his when, he announced that he was doing this one last mail-in. I was like,
Did you do it to CGC or CBCS?
None. I declined the grade because it was a book that I needed multiple signatures on. So a grade wouldn't have done me any good anyway. I just ended up ripping it out.
So, the CGC ones, they didn't make it. He passed away before he was able to do those.
Yeah.
The CBCS ones he did. And I had sent several off, some to get graded and some not to be graded. And those are some of the ones I wanted to get signed by Marv Wolfman. Unfortunately, he will not be there. First appearance of Tim Drake was first Batman comic I've ever bought. And I've got it signed by Pat Broderick, John Beatty, and George Perez, who did the cover. So
he signed. He's the second. I mean, not the second one to sign it, but he signed my Heroes Against Hunger book with like 17 others. So I was like, yeah, I might as well. But Simonson's line is always the worst one. Can confirm. And for some reason, Tom King. I'm not saying that that's bad, but like, there's other people there too.
Yeah. Well, like with the Simonsons, like they don't travel out an awful lot, and they live up that way, that side of the US. And so, they're getting older. So they're definitely on the list, the short list for me.
Should I do a Walt Simonson run? I don't know. That line is ridiculous. It's going to be at least an hour.
But see, that's one that I'd say, okay, well, look, how old is Walt now? Or Wheezy? They're how many more times are they going to be there? Had books for the CGC signing, yeah. So, and which I thought, just my personal opinion, but CGC just didn't want to let go back of that money. When they said, "Oh, hey, let's hear the George Perez head logo. I'll put it on there. We can't get your book signed, but we'll return it with the logo on there." It's like,
why? No, give me my book back.
Yeah, give me my money too.
Yeah, and my money. Yeah, right. Jeez.
So
Alan Davis. Yeah, I got a couple Alan Davises in here. I think he's
actually got my Infinity Gauntlet signed by Joe Rubenstein and Jim Starlin years ago, and then George Perez was the missing link. And so I sent it off in that CBCS signing, and it came back a 9.8.
Oof.
Which was, I mean, like I said, I had it for several years and then sent it off to get it signed for that.
And then made it back.
right. And so it was a CBCS. So they verified the 2 signatures that they didn't witness because it was raw when I sent it to George, and then it was they witnessed his signature. So they denote that on the label. The difference.
Have you ever run into a comic artist or writer or celebrity that was just really rude?
Plenty of them.
I've not had an well. That's I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Well, no,
and,
that's true. I have one. Brian Michael Bendis.
And my experience with Bendis was great. But to me, and when I say rude, I'm talking about like, man, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. I don't know if I've ever had that, but like very short. And like in my mind, I'm paying you a lot of money and I'm spending a lot of time to be here today. The least you could do is smile, say thank you, whatever, as opposed to like Neil Adams. It was always very transactional for him. I first time I met him, I like fanboyed out, and I'm sitting there, oh man, it's awesome. And he's like, oh yeah. All right. Next, come
Give
on.
me money.
Like,
Yep.
dude, I just paid you $50 a cig. Oh.
Yeah, I've had my run-ins with Neil Adams, but the only time I ever seen somebody kind of lose it on a fan was Dan Jurgens.
Really?
In my opinion, completely justified. Justified. He's there signing for free. All he's got is a little bucket, for the Hero Initiative.
Yeah.
And someone showed up with a book signed by Joe Shuster. Or maybe it was Jerry Siegel. It was one of the two.
Okay.
The like OGs of comic books.
Sure.
And like Dan grabbed the book and he's talking to the fan or whatever. And he signs it. And as he's done signing it, he's ready to hand it back. And he's like, whoa, Joe Shuster. And he just kind of like points to the bucket. He's like, you got to put something in the bucket. And the guy's like, I'm not putting anything in the bucket. And he's like, the bucket was for these guys. It's for them. And the guy was like, you didn't say I had to do it. It's not required. So I'm not. Now I forget what the guy said, but it was basically like, well, now I'm not going to for sure. Well, and Dan was like, okay, well, he was about ready to whip out some hand sanitizer and just erase his signature. But the guy finally forked over $5 or $6 and put it in there. And he's like,
that's kind of a douche move, on the part of the customer,
yeah,
especially in light of like you said, like this is kind of for these guys right here and what they went through, as creatives. And
yeah. And then the customer lost his cool too. He's like, well, F you, essentially. I'm not doing that. I don't have to. And Dan's like, you will. You're going to.
Well, and it's like, Peter David told me, he said, Neil Adams always got on the move about not, charging for my signature. And he would have a thing there and it was always overflowing money. People would, put a couple of dollars here and there in there. And, I get people are generally more giving when it's not compulsory.
Oh, totally agree. Yeah, I do about $2 to $3 a signature. Like if they're there for the Hero Initiative, no problem, man.
Yeah,
I got $5 or $6 signed, man. Here's $25, easy. Here you go.
Yeah, Mark Buckingham's line this year at Heroes, and he was doing that. And I said, man, I just ran out of cash. I'm gonna bring some back, and I'm gonna put it in there. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, whatever. And so I went back and I said, hey, I told you I was going to put it in. I just wanted you to know, that I kept my word. Oh, I appreciate you actually coming back. Well, and talking about signatures, I mentioned to you Josh Middleton and his NYX 3,
what was it, $100 just for the book?
And
yeah,
that his math isn't even correct. Maybe it was at the height of COVID, but his math is just like not there whatsoever.
What he say would add $500 in value?
Like I would have just made $500 off his $100 signature. Well,
if it goes and sits in your collection for 50 years, what the?
So you're assuming a lot of things. One, I'm going to get it graded. Two, you're assuming that I'm going to sell it. 3, you're assuming it's going to be a 9.8 because, as we all know, like the discrepancy between a 9.6 and a 9.8 is some kind. It's like the Grand Canyon, right? The difference in the values. It just
it's stupid.
Yeah, it's crazy money. My 3 best SIG encounters: Mark Texiera. He was supposed to be tough. No way he was. Oh, okay. He was awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, some
There's
guys.
a lot
That's
of people
true.
that I really
But,
like.
but a lot of newer creators have learned that, and some of the older ones are nice too. So don't get me wrong on that. But some of the new creators understand that it's as much about your brand out there, like because these guys are making money off of what they've done in the past by virtue of, hey, this is what I've been able to do. So back me on Kickstarter for this. So, like these artists that, let's say DC paid them, they might get royalties if something shows up in a movie or whatever like that. You've already been paid. You got your art pages. Now those things go for crazy money.
Yeah.
Now you also used Batman, an established character, or let's say Ethan Van Sciver, for example. Would Ethan Van Sciver be anything without Green Lantern?
Boy, I don't think so. That's kind of like that's what got him to where he is now.
Yeah.
That's not to say he wouldn't have been successful on another character.
Sure. And, he had runs, short run on X-Men before going over to DC and, especially Green Lantern. But, I mean, he also had, I think, Flash as well. But, but now he catapults that into his own brand, whether you agree with him or not. That's really irrelevant. But the point being is that he has a brand. Yeah, he gets very little, if anything, from these things, but he's built his brand. And so again, these people, some of them understand that you're spending hard-earned money and time to come and stand in a line just to see me, who has done essentially nothing for you, and appreciate it.
Yeah. When you go on to look at the Baltimore Comic-Con guest list, there's a couple of them. I forget which ones they are, but if you click on their name, if you look at the bottom of their links, you could donate to them. Do you want to donate to Bob?
Oh, okay.
You can, and then you think about it like, I don't even know who you are, man. But you could donate to them. Yeah, right there. They have like their Venmo links up and.
Okay, so there's their Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and website link.
Website link. Let me try to find one. Here's one. Jeremy Bestan, fourth one down from the top.
Okay.
You got one of his links is his Patreon. You can just go right to his Patreon.
Yeah, I see. Rose Besh has one too.
Yep. Some of them are justified. I could see that, but like some of them, like if you didn't know who they are, like, I mean, that's great. Get your name out there for Patreon, but like, dude, wait to the con for me to give you my money.
Yeah.
You're trying to take my money. I'm not even there yet.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some. Stuart Sager just got added too.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Stuart, man, he done
talking to him.
I got a great commission from him earlier this year.
He's a cool dude to talk to.
Yeah, he's his art. If you like Bill Sienkiewicz's art, like it exudes madness. Like it says here the Joker. I mean, when I think about a DC character like madness, there's one right there that makes perfect sense. Like his art style makes perfect sense for that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that kind of grinds my gears about some of these. Like they'll put their own Patreon up there, but they won't tell you how much they're going to charge for signature.
Yeah, I don't know.
Until you get there.
Yeah, you would think some people would like to kind of start budgeting out, making, life choices and stuff.
I've seen other conventions do it, so I don't understand what Baltimore doesn't do it.
Yeah, Fan Expo does it.
Just say, hey, we talked to Tom Rainey, and he's going to charge you $5 per signature, but the first one is free. Great. Now I can plan, I can budget for that,
Well, see, like Scott Hanna, and I don't know if Raimi the same way. Like I got them to sign my art that they did. They didn't charge me nothing for it.
Ugh.
Like you already paid for it, so go ahead. Tom Grummett.
Yeah.
Tom Grummett doesn't charge for his signatures.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he didn't charge me for mine too, so
So
that's kind of nice.
yeah,
But
for
some of
sure.
these people, that'll be my first time meeting them, so I don't know what to expect. And then I honestly, what I try to do is I reach out to them on Instagram and say, hey, you're gonna be at this con. That's awesome. Can't wait to see you. But what do you charge for signature?
Signature price does depend on the con and
Yeah.
who is repping. Some of those people don't have like a set rep, and they just have somebody that's kind of handling them at that particular con. So it does vary. As far as Jim Shooter, a year ago, Jim Shooter was free.
I
He
think he's
started
$20
getting,
now.
well, he was $50. And I was at New Orleans Fan Expo, and they said $50. I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
And so they said, and so like that's another case. Jim Shooter wasn't charging anything for the signatures, but he was charging $10 for a COA. I don't normally care about a COA. It's
I
not
don't give
anything,
yeah, okay.
but he wasn't charging nothing for the signature. So yeah, okay, give me a COA, whatever. But yeah, so same thing with John Romito Jr. If his art rep is there, he's more expensive.
Have you ever run into those folks at comicsketchart.com?
Yep,
I really hate those guys.
they will jack up prices of stuff for sure.
Well, it's not even the prices. It's not even the prices. Like I forget who it was. I think it was Tom King. And I had my wife with me, and we're talking to Tom King for literally 10 seconds. And one of the people came up, and he's just like, no, go away. Like, next. Keep the line moving. Like, dude. Even Tom King, you could tell, like, he was, like, blown away by that. He's like, no, like, we're going to talk. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
I like talking to Tom King because him and I both spent some time in the same place in Iraq. So it's kind of nice to, I mean, we didn't meet or anything. We just happened to be there. So it's kind of nice to talk to him about it. And this, I want to say kid, I'm old, so everyone's a kid. But he just came up and was like, keep the line moving. Keep the line moving. It was like, dude, we haven't even been here a minute yet. And you're kicking us out?
So Tom King's funny because I'm not a huge Tom King fan. There are things that I feel like he done great. Like loved his Mr. Miracle run.
Yeah.
Loved the first I don't know how many issues of the Rebirth Batman. And then to me it just kind of languished out, got through the stuff. So and I'm sure that's with most every artist and writer. You don't love everything they do. But to me, he does a lot better on mini or maxi series like Adam Strange or something like that. So
yeah.
So anyway, so I was talking with him. I said, it seems to me like you just love doing like relationship type of like entanglements because you had the whole Batman, Catwoman, Adam Strange, the whole Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, type of a deal. And he's like, yeah, so we were talking and he says, you're one to talk. You got 6 kids. Cause I had mentioned that I had 6 kids. He's like, you're one to talk. You got 6 kids. And I just thought it was so funny because he was just exchanging barbs back with me, which I thought was enjoyable.
Yeah. He's a fun guy to talk to.
As opposed to being transactional. But yeah, so, but yeah, Jonathan Glapion was nice, who was the inker for Court of Owls and Death Metal and a lot of stuff that Capullo's done at DC. His wife was trying to sell me some more art. They live in Nashville. Jim Shooter's stories were like, and as far as like sketches for me, is like signatures for me. It's the experience of talking with the person.
It's part of the experience. Totally.
And so then I like to be able to look back and say, man, I remember when I got this one signed. I remember when I got this one signed. My memory is not as good as it used to be, so I try to make notes. But yeah, I mean, that is the experience there. And Jim Shooter is just like a wealth of knowledge, and he'll just like go on and on and on about it.
Yeah, talking with them is great. I've had many conversations. I would say by far the absolute nicest person in terms of creators I've ever met is probably Joe Stanton.
Oh yeah, he's super nice.
Someone described him as nauseatingly friendly.
Well, he's just like this little old. I mean, like your grandpa, like
He
little
is,
old
man.
guy.
He
And
is.
there's him and his wife, and he's like just got this big grin on his face, and just happy to talk to you. It's like, man, I just feel like I gotta buy something, even if I didn't plan on buying.
I'm the same way. Every time I see him, I buy something. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Even if I don't have any signatures, I buy a print, even if it's just a print, and I get him to sign the print.
Well, so see, that's kind of the opposite versus the transactional person is like, hey, like they lured me in by being conversational, and I'm wanting to spend money with them versus the person that, because then what happens is I go tell everybody, hey, that guy was a douchebag. Like, you don't want to deal with him, versus like now people that don't know Joe Staten go, man, next time I'm at the con, I don't know anything he's done or like anything he's done, but I'm going to go over and talk to him.
And it's a shame because he's done so much. But yeah, I would say one person at my table that was surprisingly transactional that kind of took me off guard was Francis Manipul.
Really?
Yeah, he was very transactional.
I've never met him personally, just in like watching him and stuff. He seems
nice
like
guy from the conversation we had, but
yeah,
the conversation we started was money. That's how the conversation started, and it ended when I handed him the money. Like I was done, but in between we had a great conversation.
Yeah, Joe Staten did create the Huntress. There you go,
He
Helena
did.
Wayne.
Yeah.
But it was funny to me. You talked about this with signatures. It's much the same way with art. That a lot of these younger guys, they think they should be making what the older guys make. And like Ben Bishop, like his art, like the way he draws turtles. But dude, you charge him more than Kevin freaking Eastman. I'm like, what are you talking? What are you doing? Yes.
You lower your prices when you're in the presence of greatness.
It's like
because of him, you're in this industry, man.
Exactly. Like you wouldn't even be anything here. It's just crazy that some just have an inflated ego versus like somebody like David Finch, like super humble, super nice guy. I've got
the first one's for free with David Finch.
Yeah.
The second one, I love people like that. The first one's free. It's like a track dealer.
Exactly.
For free.
Exactly. Which Magic Lasso saw me buy this one. It was already signed.
David and Meredith Finch. Yeah, there you go.
It's already signed by Meredith.
Oh, I've got a.
Which she doesn't get out to cons anymore because they got that whole farm up there in Canada.
Yeah. I met her a few times. This is the only David Finch I'm bringing. The Forever Evil Comic-Con exclusive variant, already signed by Jeff Johns. So
I've almost bought a original art piece from that run.
I love this run so much. If I found an original art, I'd probably buy it from this run.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But yet Ben is. I doubt Ben is watching me. Okay. Had David and Meredith sign. Yeah, there you go. Hard to find Wonder Woman book.
I was in his line one time. It was so long. I was waiting for I honestly thought about because I was going to get a sketch from him, like because he's doing sketches for everyone is getting like a 10-minute sketch real fast. I wanted him to get a sketch of a Finch with a David name tag on, waiting in line.
Well, so I backed his Kickstarter, so I should be getting that book, and it's got some surprise sketches in it. So I should be getting that any day now. But the last show I saw him at Fan Expo, well, he was at Heroes Con, but I didn't even attempt that line. So I saw him at the show, and there was one person in front of me, and I had come by his table earlier and had seen it was 11 by 17, but it was sideways a pit, the Del Keown image creation, and but David had drawn it, and I said I'm gonna get that. So I'm like next in line, and they said, "Sir, this is the last person in line." There was nobody behind me. And I said, I want to talk to him and get that art piece. Yeah, you'll have to come back. That art piece was $1,000 now.
And you're ready to drop it. You're running to here's $1,000, and they wouldn't let you be in line.
Now, I could have gone back and bought that piece of art without him there. But again, especially commissions and signatures, it's about the experience. So I want to talk to him about that. Man, what were you thinking when you done this? Like, what you wrapping your mind around? Where'd you get the idea for the layout of the whatever, right? Um, there's a couple of Cable or X-Men covers that he did. This ain't one of them. This is one of the ones he done, but this is not one of the ones I'm talking about. And he just encapsulated like a father and a daughter, like, because one of them is him kissing her when she was a baby, and the other one was him kissing her when she was a teenager, and like you just encapsulated in that art, like, hey, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to keep you safe, type of a deal. I think it just encapsulated perfectly well. And talking to them about that and like what were they thinking behind there, that kind of thing. It's part of the experience.
It is. It is. I love interactions like that. I really do. Talking about their inspiration and stuff like that. So, I mean, I feel you. I've been burned a couple times too. Hey, man, the cutoff is right in front of you. Like, come back later. It's just like,
so Ron Mars. I was in Ron Mars's line, and so I got him to sign some stuff, and we just got to talking, and we were talking and talking and talking. Well, there was nobody behind me when I started. Well, when I finished, there was a whole line behind me. Ron never one time said, hey, just kind of edged me on the side. Never one time said it. Just continued talking to me, looking at me and having that conversation. And so I turned around and said, oh, man, I'm sorry about that. He said, no, don't worry about it. The guy behind me starts clapping. I wanted to take my short box and whap him over the side of the head with it.
So that brings up a great segue to something I really want to talk to you about is con etiquette. So what is important to you for con etiquette? What are you looking for from your fellow con attendees?
Deodorant. That's
plus. Yep.
Big plus.
Yeah.
If somebody is in front of me that has like a whole ton of books and is talking, and they're all different books, might be keys, not be keys, I'm okay because that's a fan. They got there ahead of me. I'm perfectly okay with standing in line. Okay. If I had known those people were behind me, I would have cut myself short and moved on. What gets me is like these people like to have 50 copies of one book, and they're all going to CGC or they're all going on eBay when you leave there, and you're like, that's great, but hey, why don't you do that when nobody else is in line?
Or here, I'll sign 5 or 6 of them, and I'll go to the back of the line. Then I'll come back up again, go to the back of the line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, you mentioned earlier about all the vendors in front of you. And so like the vendors were using that as a way to get to everybody ahead of everybody else. And, that's just kind of whatever. I think that the other thing, con etiquette, I think that's about it. I mean, outside of deodorant and just not taking up the line need be. The guys with the long boxes. Because I remember the first time I met Scott Snyder, I had a short box and I plopped it up on the thing. I said, I got a couple books for you to sign. He goes, oh, okay. And I plopped the short box up there, and he goes, all those? I said, no, it's just only 2. He goes, oh, okay. And I had a VIP pass, so I got ahead of the line of everybody else. And like all this collective sigh of relief from everybody behind me that was in the normal line.
Oh, man, I'd turn around and be like, sorry, it's literally just 2 books. I'm just taking a holding it. I want to rest for 5 seconds.
Yeah. Now, I have been mean before, and like as soon as I get through, like go a couple people behind, it's like he's cutting off in 5 minutes. Just saying. So it's like, oh, no, and I'm just joking. You just stay right here.
I forget whose line I was in. It might have been Greg Capullo, or maybe it was Scott Snyder. But the cutoff was right before me. And the guy, like, you could have, like, the first couple were free, and then the guy in front of me only had one book, and I was like, shit, whatever, no big deal. And the guy's like, hey man, give me your books. I only got the one. I'll give him a sign. I was like, really? So I gave him a bunch of money, and I was like, no. This money's for you. You saved my life.
Yeah.
Take it. You're a hero.
When I met Greg Capullo, there was a guy that's when Spawn 300 had just come out. And so there was a whole bunch of covers, and this guy ahead of me had just that slated out, and he was just going down the thing, signing them up. So I got up there and I had like 3-4 books, and I got to talking with him, and he was just like super chill, super cool. And, I took the time out with me. I guess I was a little refreshing after the last guy. But, one thing I will say for any con goers is to always go to the older person first, because you don't know when that might be their last con they go to. And I've told this story multiple times about Alan Bellman and me getting a signature and a sketch from him. He reminds me a lot of the way Joe Staten was, him and his wife's interactions and such. Just super nice guy. And, I get it in November of 2019. We know what happens in 2020. He dies in February of 2020. And so because everybody at the con was glossing over him. That year, Donnie Cates was it on a stick. Everybody was in Donnie Cates' line. Nobody, listen to me, nobody was in Mike Zeck's line. Is that sinful or what? Now, Mike Zeck, John Beatty, Jim Salicrup, J.M. DeMatteis
was there.
He was at that con too. I tell you what, and I tell you one that I missed out on because I didn't have nothing for him to sign. And I said, well, I'll get him another time. Is Griffin?
Keith Giffen.
Keith Giffen.
Jeez.
But he was at that con too, and so like I'm sitting here getting stuff signed, and like now Mike Zack, he lives in the Philippines. He don't want to come back to America to do any cons.
Who's Zach lives in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Huh.
So again, you don't never know. And of course, if you're a Donnie Cates fan, now Donnie's all messed up. When's the next time he's really going? He's been to a couple cons, just not a lot. But I mean, what's he doing for Marvel these days? Nothing. But yeah, I mean, he was the flavor of the week. It's like, okay, when you've had a storied, career, talk to me then. Like, go to those guys because you don't never know when it might be the last time you get to meet them. So
that's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah. I mean, one of the coolest interactions I had, like I said, was this from Mr. Hazelwood. He gave me this book. This is from his personal collection. I can't believe I got it. And he's not getting any younger.
Right.
I don't think he does the con circuit anymore. He sent me this book for nothing, just because I asked. And it was so awesome. It's little stuff like that too, but it's funny you say Mike Zeck. He's in the Philippines. I'm actually going to be in the Philippines in March. Maybe I'll hit him up.
Oh, yeah.
See if he'll sign some stuff for me. Wouldn't that be cool?
He's actually doing a con in the Philippines. Is it the Super Manila con this coming up? Him and Bob Layton. So, Bob Layton travels the world now. And so he's over there. He comes back ever so often, but
awesome.
He's enjoying living abroad.
So does Joshua Middleton. He lives in Tokyo.
Yeah, Japan. Yeah. And so that's why I was surprised that he was at Heroes Con, and then he's going to be at Baltimore. So I guess he had some business to take care of in the States.
Well, his parents live in my city. I know. Okay. I don't know if it's his parents, I should say. I know where his family lives. I can go right to their house right now. No GPS needed. So he's from here. He got his start here in my neck of the woods.
So that the Batgirl cover, what issue is it where she's facing
23? Yeah,
I got that one signed at Heroes Con.
How much did he charge?
It was $10 or $20. I mean, it wasn't much.
That's reasonable for as high profile as he is.
Yeah, and as few times as you're going to see him, and I figured that would have been up there with the NYX, but
This one,
yeah, that one,
was it the foil or the regular?
the regular, the OG one.
I might do the regular too, and the foil.
I tell you, Jenny Frizen did a variant for that.
Yep.
Oh, I kept looking at that. I almost pulled the trigger so many times on that cover. Josh Middleton actually still owns that cover.
Like the artwork. Wonder how much he'd sell it for. Probably way too much. Probably too rich for my blood.
Yeah, you better own a trust fund. Because that something like that would go to Heritage. Somebody would. I mean, that stuff goes for some serious money. You think who Stephen Platt is?
Yeah.
So Stephen Platt just came out of the caves, if you will, and started making the con circuits again. And probably best known for his Moon Knight run. That last issue, Moon Knight, he gave that cover to his then wife or girlfriend. Gave the cover to her. Well, they've split up. They're no longer a thing. Well, somebody reached out to him and said, "Man, I will pay you." What was it? Was it 50 or 100,000? One of the two. Doesn't really matter. It's like crazy money. And for that cover. And he says, "Well, I know who has it. I'll ask them if they want to sell it." And so I guess they're still amicable. He's like, "Hey, this person reached out to me. Know if you wanted to sell it." She's like, "No."
Nice.
Oh, I've been like, sold.
Yeah, right. Oh man, you want to give me $100,000 for this, for a piece of paper? Out. Sold.
I bought a piece of art at Lee Weeks from Lee Weeks, and I mean, it was a great Hulk piece, and a guy had come right after me at the con. I didn't realize it, but right after me at the con, because I looked at both pages, and bought the other one, the subsequent, the second, the page after it. And he said, "Man, I wish I would have beat you and bought that one too." And he said, "If you ever sell, let me know." I said, "Well, make me an offer. Everything I got's for sale." And so he gave me a price. I said, "Sold."
The only time I ever was tempted to sell is I was coming out of, who was it, Lee Bermejo's line, when Batman Damned was like the hottest book on planet Earth.
Oh yeah, the Batchlong.
The Batchlong. I come out of his line, no CGC grade, no CBCS grade, just raw signature. I'm out of this, coming out of here, and he was asking everybody, "Hey man, I'll give you $250 for that book right now." And I was like, "Show me the money." And he shows me $250. He's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm going to keep it."
Do you regret that now?
No, I'm not at all. Not at all.
Because you could get that book like easily. I mean, it's not
now I can, but at the time, there's no way I would get that book for that price.
Well, so you had the unedited version, right?
I had the unedited version. Yeah. Because at the time, that's all that was left. Was the unedited version. Yeah, or the edited version, but I had the unedited. Yeah, I got the whole shebang. Saw it all. And it's God bless my LCS. There's a point in time I just couldn't make it for a while, and they held it for me. I pre-ordered it, not knowing what it was, just because it was cool, Black Label book. It's for adults. I didn't think it would like have nudity in it.
Yeah,
I think I pre-ordered it before the whole world figured it out, essentially. And they held it for me for like a month.
Oh, wow.
I got it cover price.
That's the way to do it. So, do your kids read comics?
They're still pretty young, 5 and 2. So, they're like free comic book day. Yeah,
my 6-year-old, like, it's funny because when I was 6, I was able to read because I had my first comic when I was 5, and which talking about fun interactions, it's Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was done by John Romita Jr., but it's when John Romita Jr. was still drawing like his dad. And so it looks a lot like Senior's version of Amazing Spider-Man. And so I got to talk to him and was like, "Why'd you change?" Because he has a totally different art style now. 236. But yeah, so but that's
oh wow. That's
first
awesome.
comic book I ever picked up. My mom's boyfriend left it at the house. and
and it became yours.
it's signed by Jim Shooter and John Romita Jr. But he said he never could draw as good as his dad, and to make deadlines, he had to change his art style.
That makes sense. I can get behind that. That makes sense to me.
What's up, Stan's Cutlery Universe? It's no longer Collector's Universe. It's Cutlery Universe. Hello, friends.
So here's a random question for you, and if you don't feel like answering, you don't have to. So let's say tomorrow you go outside, you get struck by lightning, and you're toast.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to your collection? What do you hope happens to your collection?
My wife will be rich from life insurance. And so there's that. I doubt that she holds on. Scott, did you get it? It's the time. Scott was bidding on this certain page. I'm not going to tell anybody just in case they got a bunch of money and want a Spectre page from Crisis. Hello. It's on auction right now. I tried to get a Kirby recreation. That's why I kept looking over here. I got a Kirby recreation of Incredible Hulk cover number 2, but they outbid me. Yeah, they went higher and I wanted to go anyway. Jeez. But so anyway, to answer your question, so she's been instructed of who to call, and those people will help sell through it. That way she doesn't have to do with any of it. Same thing with my art.
Okay. Yeah.
You if you got somebody that you trust that won't try to rip them off and will try to help go through there. And, like I halfway joke with her, like if I died, which I did last year, I just came back. But if I joke with her, like if you can just go burn the stuff. I mean, you got enough money, who cares? At that point, right? But you'd be burning a lot of money. I'm just saying. I'm not like the
Joker where he burns the whole stack of money.
Right. I'm not like some guys that they're afraid that their wife will sell their stuff for what they said they pay for it. My wife knows I spend a lot of money on funny pages. Just not how much.
See, exactly. my wife would, she's really smart, but she doesn't know anything about comics. But what are you talking about? It says 20 cents. Right there.
No.
Right there. You go. It's 20 cents.
The other thing is my CLZ app. If she wanted to get into it, I'd encourage her not to because it's too much to worry with. But in CLZ, it has how much I paid for everything. So like every book has what I paid for it. And so if you wanted to go through that, but why bother? I mean, it just wouldn't make any sense. And same thing with my original comic book art. All my stuff is on Comic Art Fans, and it has how much I paid for it in there. So she could get a spreadsheet from Bill, and that would be enough.
Stan's chiming in with an answer. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, see, like used to, you watch Stan's channel and you think like comics were going to fall over top of him. Now they keep disappearing, but he keeps getting all these knives. But all right, guys, look forward to meeting. Hey, there you go. Sounds good.
Don't forget to say hi.
So I'm bidding on a Batman Beyond the White Knight page from the Sean Gordon Murphy run. I own a page from that run. It's like one of my favorite pages. Like there's just so much on it. Did you like that run?
Yeah, I very much enjoyed that run. Absolutely.
So there's so many Easter eggs in his art in that. It's just like so awesome. And I enjoyed talking to him when I bought that page, which I paid him enough. He should have gave me a kiss on the cheek or something.
I have never been in a position to buy any art. I've looked at some, especially Anthony's comic art. He always sets up a booth.
So don't ever pay full price for Anthony's art. Anthony's a wheeler and dealer. He will at least cut 20% off. So don't let him tell you otherwise.
Good to know. Good to know.
And like if you, I've bought a lot of art from Anthony, and if he don't treat you right, tell his wife Sharon. So that's fine.
Tell on him.
So it's funny because when I was at Heroes Con, Sharon was walking to the con, and I walked up and I started talking to her while we were walking towards the con, and her dad's from North Carolina, so she was down there visiting with him, and same thing. And Scott, you say that, but Berkey does not deal as well as Anthony does. Scott takes him donuts and stuff, so he wins his way to his heart.
Bribery.
That's right. And so I said something about Anthony not giving me a free portfolio. She goes, he didn't. And so then when I made the rounds at the con, Anthony was trying to sell me this page. He's like, you buying stuff from everybody else? Why don't you buy none from me? And I'm like, well, what you got? He said, well, I picked up this page in a trade, so we're trying to bicker back and forth. She goes, Anthony, you owe him a deal. He goes, Sharon, I'm not giving him nothing. Well, you didn't give it to him before. You owe it to him.
I've met him one time. Seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. So
It's too funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Let's see, where is this? I was going to pull this up here. Scott, let's see. If you're a George Perez fan here.
I'm definitely on the lookout for Power of Shazam original art. I think that'd be fun.
Who done that? Beck?
Jerry Ordway.
Oh, Ordway. Yeah, you should be able to get something like that. I've seen Beck pages go for not too much. What I would think if I was in the market for a Marvel, Beck's he was a creator, right?
Yeah.
I would think like Beck pages would be like not to the level of Kirby, but I think you get what I'm going at.
Up there,
And they weren't. And so I'm like, wow, okay. Not to say they were like super cheap or anything. But yeah, so this is Crisis on Infinite Earths, page number 10, page 9. This is where the Spectre comes out.
That's awesome.
This is so you got Cyborg down here, you got the Metal Men, you got Wonder Woman, looks like the Atom right there, older Superman. Is that Starboy down there at the bottom?
What's the price on that?
There's
right now.
Right this second is $8,000.
Ah, Jesus.
And so looks like I guess Jerry Ordway must have inked it, and George Perez, of course, drew it.
Oh, come on. Jeez, $8,000.
Dude, yeah, like this is like a wall-worthy piece of art. Scott's already got a bunch of that anyway, but it's so some art collectors are more but covers nowadays are more like pinups. Like in the old days, they you can kind of get an idea of what was going on in the story based on the cover. And I'm more of a reader anyway, so like the art that I pick up is usually like a cover. A part of the story that I'm like, man, I just love this part of the story, right? Like if I look at that art and it just brings me back into the story. So, Crisis was obviously a big one, for the death of Flash, death of Supergirl, among other things, resetting the DC universe when it needed one.
Listen, Mr. Lasso, you and I could combine budgets and still not be able to to buy something like that.
But I talking about Perez art. I'd love to get a page out of Infinity Gauntlet, but that stuff's expensive too. Marvel art is more expensive, generally speaking, than DC art is, like similar to the books. And so, like if you're a DC collector, you can usually get better deals. Except like the stalwarts like Batman or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule. Old school Superman or Batman art, it's probably way out. If I dropped a piece on my wife, would find a use for some of my knives.
Hey, there you go, right there, Lasso. Wonder Woman's right there. Just go ahead and cash out the 401k.
If I spent $80 on art, I got to justify it to the old CFO.
Oh, it went.
For 8 G's.
No, it went for 10,850.
Oh, oh.
Scott, are you in the chat or did you go and bid on it? Did you win it? Inquiring minds want to know.
I wouldn't be able to drop the difference on the prices from when we saw it to when it ended on a piece of art.
So
Second place.
well, I have been in that second place position like multiple times, and then there's times I'm like, you sorry sapsucker, and then there's other times, oh no, you were saying that second place. And then there's times you're like, okay, I'm glad somebody beat me out. Like a good way to not get beat out is like to bid on something and go, yeah, I won't win that, and just like leave it alone.
And
That's what
win.
happened. That's what happened to that Batman 2 page that I bought, that Capullo First Talent. I bid on that thing on Comic Link, and I said, there ain't no way. I mean, because it was at the exact bid going days into the thing. I said, somebody's going to outbid me by $25 or something, and they didn't. I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
I've had that on multiple eBay buys. Man, I don't care about this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's going to take it from me anyway, and then wake up the next day. Hey, you win.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it. Okay.
It's kind of like that short box of Adventure versus Superman 500,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Exactly. I was like, one, who would sell that?
Somebody that found a case in a warehouse somewhere.
It was so cheap. It cost more to ship it. That's how cheap it was. I was blown away. And then when I'm unboxing this, my wife was like, what are you doing? And I explained to her the situation. And she just, the classic wife, like, she didn't have to say anything. I knew I was in trouble, just like, whatever. Like, she just walked away. She's like, whatever you want to spend your money on. Like, whatever, I don't care. 200 copies of the same book sounds like a worthy investment.
Well, yeah, because my wife, knows about my Turox, and I said that's a guilty pleasure book. I said, let me explain guilty pleasure before you read too much into that saying. It's like, I should feel guilty for spending as much as I do on this book, but I have pleasure in seeing this book, so therefore it's a guilty pleasure.
Well,
book.
I think the community expects it now, and we get disappointed when you don't.
Yeah.
We want to see you buy all the copies.
Yeah. I'm trying to corner the market, and if chromium ever becomes a rare metal, I will be rich.
Yeah, move over, Jeff Bezos. Elon Musk who? No.
That's right. Exactly. The other crisis page only hit 5,700. Yeah. I mean, it was still a good crisis page. It just wasn't that one, that
it's about
epics. It wasn't like the epics. Like if you, because pages, unlike comics, like if it's a 6.0 First Constantine as an example, you kind of know what to expect to pay for it based on the market, because there's multiple ones of them. Well, in original art, there's only one of that. So you base it as well as you can. And then that's going to be based on like the moment in the book. Was it a big key? Was it a big splash page? I mean, there's all these other little things that go along with it. So yeah, I mean, like I tell you another, one like be the Death of Flash. That would be another page that would really go from some serious jack, right?
Huh. That 5,700, that's about $5,500 more than I'd probably be willing to pay.
Well, the crazy thing about the art market is like prior to COVID, I mean, that, you probably could have got that for a couple thousand. I mean, like half of that price.
Yeah.
10 years. Well, I think Scott can remember, but that page sold on Heritage, which Heritage keeps all the sales. And so I think it was from 2005. So 19 years ago. And so, and I think it went for a couple of hundred back then. So.
Couple hundred. Yeah, there you go. It was sold for $800. Yeah. Right.
There you go. So yeah, it was a crazy difference, but the original art market is like not tanked like the comic art market did. Because again, there's only one of it. And, a lot of these bigger pages are being bought up by these investment houses and private equity companies, and they're just sitting on them. So it's not just normal people playing with money. These
I
are
hate it when big conglomerates get involved and ruin a hobby. Just like what they're doing with the housing market.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, it could be some of the same people. Well, I'll give you
Yeah.
an example of this. So one of my competitors, um, so we were going to buy several different companies, and this private equity company paid way more than the company was worth, but they weren't using it for anything but the reserve. So an insurance company has to have reserves, a certain percentage of your premiums, whether you go life insurance, car insurance, whatever, goes into a reserve. Well, every state has their own insurance department, and they have to make sure that you're investing that and getting a rate of return so that if you have a whole bunch of claims, you can pay them. And that margin that you have is how you run your business, how you make your money. And so they were just interested in playing with the reserves. So you ever watched the movie Dumb and Dumber?
Yep.
Okay. At the end where he gets the case that's supposed to be
All
for
the IOUs. Look
Yeah.
at these. All these.
Yeah. He says, that's just as good as money. Okay. So basically, that's what happened with this private equity firm. They went and they raped all these reserves, and they had all these IOUs from where the owner had bought his private yacht and all this other kind of stuff. So a company, so how this relates to comics, a company decided to buy this other company called Beckett. And it also then decided to buy a company called CBCS. Y'all might have heard of them before. So the company owns them. This company I'm talking about. And so Eli Global changed their name to protect the guilty, but they still own CBCS. But I think is it BlackRock or Blackstone that owns CGC? So
it sounds right. I don't know for certain, but that sounds right.
Is one of the big conglomerates too. So I mean, it's not like CBCS is alone in this. But yeah, and they can ruin a hobby. But
dang, this is why we can't have nice things, you guys.
So no big books, only SIGs. I'm going for SIGs mainly. I'm going to try to be good. If I don't think Scott, you said you're not coming to Baltimore. It's too trashy of a city for you. So, but hopefully Carl will not, convince me that I need to get too many art pages. I'm going to try to be good. Relatively.
Is there a Ravens game that weekend? Because Ravens and the Orioles play right there.
Right.
So, and that traffic sucks.
Well, and talk about traffic, that big bridge in Baltimore collapsed.
Francis Scott Key Bridge, yeah.
So I wonder how that's going to affect anything. Well, I mean, we're right across from the convention center. I'm going to he said no to Baltimore. Ravens are playing now.
Oh, yeah, they're playing right now. They're losing to the Chiefs.
Well, that makes sense. So, but, I'm going to fly in. I'm taking an Uber to the hotel, and I'm chilling. I got a conference call from the hotel, and that's about it for me.
It's a nice convention. I think you're going to like it. It's clean. The convention space is absolutely gigantic, and it's there's a lot to do really in the convention itself.
Have you ever been to New York Comic Con or San Diego?
Have not.
So those are, Baltimore, just like Heroes, which I think Heroes at least, and we'll see about Baltimore after I've been there, but is one of that I want to go back to every year. Like it was that good. And then like with Heroes, a lot of the people in the YouTube community, we had like this meeting. Scott and several other folks of us went out to a steakhouse one night, and then like all the YouTube folks got together, and I mean it was a packed house. There were so many.
That sounds like fun.
And I'm like, I didn't even think there was that many people on YouTube that did comics, but there are. And like we had so many people like afterwards say, "Man, next year I'm there. Next year I'm there." And
that sounds like fun. Heroes Con. That's in North Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina. Yeah, I'll put it on the list. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's really dope. But so those were kind of on my bucket list. C2E2 is another one. MegaCon's another one.
Oh,
just
to
say I've gone. I might say, man, I hate the like cramped celebrity focused atmosphere. but I'll say, hey, I've been once. And that's kind of the thing with New York or San Diego. But
yeah,
I got
a ton of celebrities.
I got to plan those more. The other thing is I'm able to, like, most of my con frequencies are revolving around work too.
Oh, nice.
And I can't, so I'm not fitting the bill for everything. But something like New York, I don't do business in New York. I don't do business in California. So I really can't do that.
Yeah, he's right. Here's comes one. Love to do. Baltimore scratches the itch. Lasso's right. I can't really go to Chicago. The air's too heavy. I could feel it nice and tight right here. As a Viking, I'm not really allowed to go in.
Well, wait a minute. I'm a Green Bay fan. Am I allowed to go to Chicago?
Probably not. They won't let us in.
Oh, my word.
I'm a diehard Viking, so that's why everything's purple. I got the purple crown, the purple jacket, purple rain. Well, he's half right. I'm scared of bears, just not any in Chicago.
I see. Well, talking about the Vikings, hey, my boy Brett Favre, man, was a Viking for a little while.
Yeah, 2-3 seasons. And it sounds like Aaron Rodgers might be coming to Minnesota. So
wouldn't that be something?
That'd be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
So fun, Brett Favre's story. I was just in a bike race with. He was in the bike race and I was in the running race. Last year in November, because he lives in Hattiesburg, which is only an hour and a half away from me. So I was down there doing a race, and he was riding his bike, which he lives down there too. So, do
you know where Camp Shelby is?
Yeah,
in Mississippi. When I was, a young buck in the Army, when I come back from my first tour, I was stationed at Camp Shelby, helped training National Guard and Reserves.
Yeah, to
go overseas. And when I learned that at the time Brett Favre was still in Green Bay, I was like, dude, Brett Favre's house is right over there. Let's call some artillery. Let's do this. Let's get that number one spot in the division. We can end it right now. Boom. Problem solved. You're welcome, NFC North.
Yeah. People go to Baltimore and leave with itches and scratches that weren't there before. Yes, maybe so. Hopefully.
Yeah, as long as you stay within the Inner Harbor, you'll be fine. Don't venture outside the Inner Harbor. That's where all the problems lie. They had a couple kids that were, they called them squeegee kids. They, at the stoplight, they'd run out and they'd clean your car or whatever. Some guy just shot one.
Oh, wow.
Instead of get out of the way, just pull out a gun.
Yeah. Well, like you said, we're in this hotel.
What a reasonable response.
If I get shot at, it's Tony's fault. And so he might be in cahoots with my wife to get big money. But, yeah.
What am I going to get?
He didn't even take any comics or art with him. I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah, right? Comics art. Never even heard of it. I don't even know what that is. Comic books? Who does that?
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that would.
Yeah, it's fine around the convention. Yeah, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Lots of heavy police presence in a good way.
Not like San Diego, who had the sex sting bus.
The what?
You didn't hear about that?
No.
So there was this huge bus for human trafficking at San Diego Comic-Con this year. They busted a whole bunch of pervs that were selling women in the sex slave trade.
How do those things correlate?
They were at the same time and the same place. I don't know how connected they were to the convention itself, but they were in the same area at the same time as this was going on. Maybe they went to the con. I didn't hear that part, but
comics and prostitution.
It can lead you to that. It can lead you to that, Stan. I mean, y'all just don't want to know the stuff that Stan had to do to get his first Martian Manhunter.
Is it the world's oldest profession with the world's oldest hobby?
Yeah, the world's oldest profession is akin to the second world's oldest profession, which is politics. So they go hand in hand.
I'd say it'd be art, cave art. You know. I don't know. Who knows?
But anyway, well, man, it's been cool having you on and talking that about going and getting some cool books signed, and
we'll have to link up after the show and
and show what's going on. And I'll be going live from the convention, doing various videos and stuff. Not as much as they probably would like me to, but enough that appeases the comic gods, so to speak, and to continue to get my press pass.
Is there like a minimum requirement you have to do?
Generally, they just want to have like some like stuff going into it and stuff going out of it. Oh, but okay. to qualify, generally every con's different, but generally they want you to have like a certain amount of subscribers is the first thing. I think a certain amount of watch hours or whatever like that. So they'll that's basically what they look for.
Well, it'll never be me. That's for sure.
And you always go early. Like you don't want to wait to the last minute. So like if you go early, you'll get in there before everybody else thinks about doing it, and because they only have a certain amount of them they give away, right? And so
cool, man. Maybe if I see you in your lives, I'll have to bomb one.
Well, look, yeah. I mean, are you gonna be there Sunday? I was gonna say you could
Saturday. I'll be there Saturday.
I was gonna say you could bum mine since I won't be there Sunday, but if well, see the other thing too, like Shelby's Comics, generally I get him a press pass with me when we go to Dallas every year, and so yeah, if somebody's, I guess I should be better about asking, like if somebody wanted to do a joint thing and get a free press pass.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah.
Less work for you if you can partner up.
Right. Yeah. Well, like in Shelby's case, like he likes doing those videos and editing and all that kind of stuff I hate doing. So it's like you're the man.
Have at it. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, appreciate everybody for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Sorry about the first part where I had to bail on everybody, but hopefully Tony didn't go off the rails showing too many Harley Quinn books.
You know me too well.
All right, folks, if you haven't already done so, be sure to drop the Thor hammer down and smash that like button. And if you're not already doing so, subscribe to Signature King Tony. His links are in the description below. He does, believe it or not, below that camera, wear MC Hammer pants because he says you can't touch this. But appreciate everybody. And until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Adios.
Peace.